So Violet is a single mom who is getting back out into the dating scene for the first time in a while. And the date becomes sinister pretty quickly. The tone of the film is really interesting because this woman is on a date. Things are going badly on her end of things, but her date is not allowed to know about any of it. So there's this really interesting sort of dynamic where the stakes are really high. You know, it's life or death, but she has to keep this man sitting at the table across from her. So she's having to cover up a lot of what her actual feelings about what's going on are. And so I think it's really interesting to sort of see her navigate that throughout the film. This idea that it's totally within the world we live in, that you can receive a message like that unsolicited from a person that you don't know, and you can look around a room, as she does in the film, and see everybody in it on their phone and have even less of an idea of who it could be. And so I think that that's actually a really effective part of the way that the film is shot because it's so the world that we live in. This entire movie is a panic attack. I've almost had a few of them shooting it. No, I'm fine, but it's stressful.
It's a new relationship. I mean, they've been FaceTiming for a few months and texting and whatnot. But this is ultimately their first meeting, their first encounter. Um, yeah, they're just two crazy kids going on a date. They're really highlighting each of these characters in this ensemble in a way where it's making the audience realize that there's no real insignificant characters. You know, it's not like, oh, that's just the waiter, that's just the hostess or whatever. It's like, no, that waiter serves a really big, uh, you know, role in the context of the story and the plot. I mean, every character does, which is, I hope, going to mislead the audience and make them wonder, wait, who's doing this? Working with him has been really, really exceptionally lovely. Chris's vibe on set is unlike anything I've experienced in terms of how calm and just like there's no tension. It's just like it's a really lovely and pleasant experience, which I think is like ultimately the best thing for making something good. Just feeling like you're trapped, you know, and you can't do anything about it. You can't text anybody, you can't call anybody, you can't even go in the bathroom and be like you're being watched at all angles, you're being listened to at all angles, and you just feel like you are totally trapped, back up against the wall. You have no freedom, and you have no control over what's going to happen to you. That's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
What I think is so fascinating about her character is that she sort of begins um, in a place of sort of false strength. We think she's this woman who has it all together, and you know, she's kind of put her life back together. And as this night progresses, we begin to see two things: one, that she doesn't have it all together, and that she's sort of fraying at the seams, and that her past traumas are sort of intertwining with this nightmare scenario, but that she's also a woman of immense strength, and that she has to kind of dig down and find a strength that she didn't even know she possessed. It's an impossibly difficult role because she is having to do so much with so little, you know, and the amount of restraint and control that she has to exhibit in the film. She's, you know, a person who is both, you know, trying to deal with the horror of her child being held at gunpoint by a stranger who may or may not kill her son and her sister, while also pretend to be on a date. So she has to act. She's doing this two-hander the entire film, and I can't imagine anyone else being capable of doing what she does in this film. I think audiences are going to love how relentless and fast-paced and suspenseful and exciting and emotional the movie is. You know, I think it fires on a lot of different cylinders and things that I love when I go to the movies. And it's not disposable. You know, I think it's really having a real conversation with the audience about the nature of our very highly abusive online culture.
This project actually came about when I was on a family trip overseas, and my best friend and I, Sam Lerner, he's also an executive producer on this project, we're at a beautiful dinner, and we started receiving airdrops from someone in the restaurant that we were at, and over the course of the meal, they started getting progressively scarier, and by the end of the meal, we thought we had figured out who it was, but we were never able to actually figure it out. So that was the scariest part, is we really just never knew who the culprit of the airdrops were. And then we were like, maybe this should be a movie. You know, I think something that's really interesting about this setup in particular is there are themes under the first date that are incredibly relatable to a lot of different people. And I think that when viewers watch this movie, they'll find themselves really relating to Meghann and Brandon's characters specifically. And we all go on first dates, and we've all gone on bad first dates before. And they're always scary. It's just this one seems to be a little bit scarier than the normal one. Going on a first date, it's already a very, it's a vulnerable experience just to go on the first date. And then once you get there, for this type of situation to unfold around you and for you to not know who around you is a threat when anyone could be is really terrifying. And also not knowing the person in front of you at all. So are they in on it? You know, do you really know this person? Is this the person that you're going to trust, or is this the person that's behind the entire thing? I guess you'll find out.
Violett can't reach out to anyone. And somehow every move she makes, this person who is terrorizing her has premeditated what she's going to do. So it's scary to have your family being threatened, but it's also scary that every move you make, someone's already thought of, and it has stopped you from being productive in trying to save your family. Meghann has brought so much more to it, because when I watch her work and I'm sitting at the monitor, there have to be layers on top of layers. She has to be terrified, but then she has to contain that fear so that whoever is terrorizing doesn't recognize that she's scared, and she doesn't want to let her date in on what's happening to her. So she's terrified. She's trying to present a calm face, and she's trying to solve the potential calamity that's happening in her house. And so it's like emotion on top of emotion on top of emotion. And Meghann is doing such a fantastic job with that. But I never read the character like that until I saw Meghann doing it on screen. If you walk through your day and you look up at the ceiling instead of looking down at your feet, there's probably a camera there. And our phones are always on. We all get ads from our phones after a conversation that we've had during the day. And so I think that Violett is hyper aware that she's being watched, because every move she makes, someone else is a step ahead of her. But I think that notion that we're all being watched is something that's very familiar to people, and audiences will be able to put themselves in that situation. And when I produce a film, that's always something that I want to accomplish, is have the audience feel like this is something that could happen to them. If it feels real to them, then more and more people will enjoy the movie. And I think that this is a situation that every single person in the world can relate to.